Again, we want to look at the Utme 2012 questions on differential calculus. Now, this is paper type green. We're looking at paper type green, and we have two questions from differential calculus in this year. The questions are in number 37 and 38 respectively. The first question, number 37, is if y equals to x squared minus 1 over x, find y dx. That is, find the derivative of this function. Now, the second question, which is number 38, states that find the y dx if y is equal to cos x. Now, let us do that very quickly because of time. Yeah, look at it. We have the first one, y is equal to x squared minus 1 over x. X squared is equal to 1 over x. Y is equal to x squared minus 1 over x. Yeah, it's very easy for us to make this one a perfect power function. Turn everything to power function or polynomial. Yeah, power function. So we have it as x squared minus x to power minus 1. From indices, we understand that 1 over x becomes x to power minus 1, and x to power minus 1 equals to 1 over x. Now, we can easily differentiate now using power function rule. Yeah, the y dx is equal to, when we differentiate x squared, we have 2x to power 1. Then minus, when we differentiate x to power minus 1, we have minus 1 x to power minus 1 minus 1. Right. Let me come back and make it a little bit simple. From power rule function, we have that the y dx of this function will become, these two will come forward to multiply the x squared function. Now we must subtract 1 from the original power of x squared, then minus, for this function also we have to introduce a bracket because it becomes a compound function. Now the minus 1 will come forward to multiply the function x minus 1. At the same time, we still subtract 1 from the power. Now that leads us to 2x raised to power 1, because 2 minus 1 is 1. Then minus becomes plus x to power minus 1 minus 1, that is minus 2. So we simply have 2x plus, from law of indices, x to power minus 2 becomes 1 over x squared. So we have derivative, that therefore the y dx will be equal to 2x plus 1 over x squared. That is the derivative of the function x squared minus 1 over x. And that answers number 37 of the Utme 2012 paper type green. Now we have that in the option D. Option D is the correct option for that year question. Now, this is obtained based on the principle, simple principle or rule of differentiating a power function, which is if we have a function y equals to ax to power n. Now the rule is that the y dx will be given as, look at the original power is n. The n, which is the power, will come forward to multiply the function, right? Then we subtract 1 from the function. So that gives us na x is power n minus 1. So for instance, when we have y equals to 2x cubed, you can easily see that the power of x here is 3. Then the y dx now will be equal to, this 3 will come forward to multiply the function. That is 3 times 2x to power 3. Now subtract 1 from the power. Can you see that? Then we have 3 times 2, which is what? 6. X to power 3 minus 1 is what? 2. So you can easily see that derivative of y equals to 2x cubed becomes 6x squared. So this is the law, the method, the rule that we applied to solve number 37 of the Utme 2012 paper green. Now let's go forward and solve the second question of that same year. Let's see what we get, we don't have much time again. No. We have number 38. We say find y if y is equal to cos x. This is a simple question. The rule is that when we differentiate cos x, we have minus sine x. So that's the answer. So the correct option is therefore option B to the year 2012. Question number 38. So it's option B, which is minus sine x. Now, let me give you a summary of the derivative of all basic trig functions. If we have y equals to cos x, okay, let me bring it forward. We have y equals to cos function of x. Now, our dy dx will be equal to minus f prime of x sine f of x. What does that mean? That simply means that if we have y equals to cos 2x, for instance, now this 2x is the function of x. So dy dx now will be equal to derivative of this function of x, which is minus, that's minus derivative of this, which is minus 2. Then sine function of x itself, that derivative of cos 2x. That's this law applied. Then we have second law for the sine function. This for the cos function. When we have y is equal to cos function of x, then the y dx becomes f prime of x sine function of x. That's minus f prime of x. Now f prime of x means derivative of function of x. And a function of x in this case is what? 2x. So let's see how to apply let us see the rule that involves sine function and see how it can be applied as well. Now, dy dx here will be equal to f prime of x. There's no negative in this one. Then cos function of x. That's it. So if we have stuff like y is equal to sine x squared, for instance. Now the function of x here is x squared. So we have to get the y dx now as derivative of the function of x, which is x squared. Now, x squared is standing in the place of function of x. So we take this x squared as another function on its own. So when we differentiate x squared, of course, we're going to have 2x. Then cos, look at the formula, f prime of x cos f of x, which is cos x squared. So that is derivative, applying the rule of differentiating sine function. Then lastly, we want to look at tan function. How do we differentiate tan function? Now, we have y is equal to tan function of x. The derivative is given as f prime of x sec square f of x. Remember, sec simply means 1 over cos. Sec x means 1 over cos x. So you remember that, and cosec x means what? 1 over sine x. Then when you see cot x, what does that stand for? 1 over tan x. So those are the simple relationships that you need to know about trig functions and trig ratios. Now let's go back to our problem. We have f prime of x sec square f of x. So for instance, we have y as tan 4x squared. I want to obtain the derivative of that. Now you have to look out for the function of x, which is what? 4x squared. When you differentiate 4x squared, these two will come forward and multiply 4. So you have 8x, then subtract 1 from the x squared. So you are left with what? X to the power 1. Then sec square what? Sec square function of x, which is what? 4x squared. That's it. Thank you very much, my friend. I have actually introduced you enough to the basic shortcut method of solving differential